Welcome back to the Koccolay channel. Today we will explore the story of the biggest drug dealer in history, the drug baron who is not afraid of anyone. The full story of Pablo Escobar, the most famous and richest drug boss in history, who was nicknamed the King of Drugs, as he had a great reputation and authority that makes him control the policy of the state and who manages it. He became in his country and the rest of America the richest leaders with a net worth at the time of $30 billion, which is currently equivalent to $64 billion for the year 2023. His trade stretched from Latin America to the rest of the world. So what is the full story of the drug king and the most famous Colombian gang leader of all time? How did the authorities finally arrest him after years of manhunts? Dear viewers, if you are the first time you see our videos, so we invite you to subscribe to the channel to receive everything new and interesting. As for our loyal followers, we invite you to hit the like button if you like the video, and don't forget to follow the video to the last to know the exciting details of Pablo Escobar's story. Let's continue. Many of you may have watched the famous series Narcos on Netflix, which is based on the story of Pablo Escobar. The eldest son of Pablo Escobar has stressed that many of the events in the film are false and untrue, and said that it remains a Netflix series and cannot tell the facts as they actually happened in the past. So we decided with today's video to tell the real facts of the life of Pablo Escobar, the most famous drug dealer in history, whose name was echoed in the entire world, and his face was known, unlike other drug dealers who kept their identities hidden. Despite his fame and the world knew about him, very few knew the real details of his life. The story begins with Colombia, a country in the northwest of South America that was colonized by the Spanish in the year 1499. The country has always known bloody civil wars for years, between political parties and far-right parties. Amid all the turbulent situations in the country, Pablo Emilio Escobar Jr. was born in the year 1949 to a modest family, where his mother worked as a teacher in the education sector, while his father was without work. Escobar's interest in studying soon diminished, as he gradually began to quit school, and soon infiltrated criminality to earn money faster to support his family, as he had a famous saying that he always repeated, "I swear that I will not die poor. For me, God is in the first place, but if you look closely, money is very close to God." In the year 1970, together with his cousin Gustavo J.V. Escobar, who was 21 years old, became a contraband smuggler, as well as a bodyguard for Alfredo G.A. Cubtmez, a criminal and drug dealer. Since Pablo was serious about his work and mastered it, as he quickly collected a lot of money, so he decided to create a special criminal group, so that in the year 1975 he began to trade and smuggle a class of drugs when he was 26 years old. However, it did not last long, as some of his men were arrested by the Colombian police, prompting Pablo to offer a bribe to the police chief in order to free his men. But the latter, contrary to expectations, refused directly and arrested Pablo as well. The event became hysterical in the country, where for the first time Pablo Escobar's name was published in headlines in newspapers, and Pablo's next move was to try to bribe Court Judge Marina Espinosa, who was in charge of his case, to no avail for the second time. Fortunately for Escobar, a mistake occurred in his case. He allowed his case file to be transferred to another city, where he was able to bribe justice in that city, thus breaking free and embracing freedom again. A few months later, Pablo killed Judge Maria Espinosa, who refused the bribe, the police detective who had previously arrested him, and 2 other policemen who were said to have abused him. Thus began the bloody series of murders of Pablo Escobar that will result in dozens of other murders. After the high demand in America for a specific type of drug, Pablo took advantage of the situation and decided to control the contraband market with the founders of one of the criminal groups in Medellin, Carlos Link. so they decided together to find a safe haven between Colombia, where they provide drugs, and deliver them to the United States. So they chose an island of the Bahamas, which is 350 kilometers from the coast of Florida in America. Carlos Link bought the entire island, which had a landing station, a marina for boats and ships, a huge hotel, and some other facilities. They decided to set up a warehouse where they would store drugs, to pass them before they were loaded on board the plane and deposited in the United States. Things were thus going well with the latest technology and innovative methods, paving the way for a long series of lucrative and money-generating trade between Colombia and the United States of America. Pablo began building a laboratory in Colombia to improve the quality of drugs from Peru and Bolivia, along with some well-known smuggling families. Pablo set up a criminal gang for smuggling contraband in Medellin, sharing its profits equally with his partners. The group relied on its protection mainly on professional hired assassins, non-pagan soldiers, as well as some bribed policemen who obey orders as soon as they were received. After receiving large sums of money, Pablo and his associates were able to smuggle approximately 80 tons of a banned drug into the United States each month, equivalent to the mass of 50 cars. After Pablo became a billionaire, in 1978, at the age of 29, he decided to buy the Luz Indianapolis, a plot of land measuring 20,000 square meters, while the main door contains a real plane hanging on top, which was the first plane to transport drugs from Colombia to America, where Pablo decided to keep it as a souvenir at the main entrance to his residence. As for the interior details, Pablo created a zoo, with giraffes, ostriches, elephants, hippos, artificial lakes, luxury hotels, and numerous entertainment facilities for his family and friends. Pablo, with his own space, had facilities that included the most luxurious cars he owned, where he enjoyed collecting new items and trying them out personally. Pablo was known for generosity, and he could buy everything for his family and friends. Controlling 80% of the drug market in Europe, and 90% in America, which prompted America to employ several anti-drug committees to follow in Pablo's footsteps and catch him. But in parallel with being the richest drug boss, Pablo had sharp intelligence and highly sophisticated planning methods, knowing all America's moves and those who wanted to arrest him. A few years later, it was observed in Colombia that almost the entire justice sector and judges had been bribed by Pablo and complied with his orders and authority. Pablo literally ran entire cities and streets in Colombia with a single gesture from him. This was the first part. Check the second part, link in the description, and don't forget to support us by like. Thanks for your time.